I predicted last night that no film would win more than 4 awards. I thought it was going to be a night of parody, a lot of movies winning awards. Well, I was wrong, and I'm glad I was, because Anora took home 5, baby. And that brings me to winners and losers. Joe, you're going to talk about the big winner of the night. I'm going to talk about the big loser of the night. But let's kick it off with the big winner, and you know who it is. It's Anora, baby.
Yep. The big winner was Anora taking home 5 Academy Awards, including all the ones that matter: Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Original Screenplay, Best Editing, and Best...
Did you say director?
Director. Thank
yes.
you. And Best Director.
Sean Baker, first person ever to win 4 Academy Awards for the same movie. Amazing.
It was a humongous win for American independent cinema as well. This movie was made for $6 million. It was shot on film. It was shot in New York. And the entire campaign season, Sean Baker had a steady stream of championing things that he really believes in: theatrical distribution, physical media, and the art and craft of filmmaking. So that is very heartwarming and exciting that the Academy was able to see that Anora was a great embodiment of what a lot of our best films these days have going on, and it's a spirit that the Oscars need to keep alive. And as much as I want The Dark Knight to get nominated for Best Picture, and as much as I'm happy that Wicked was part of the events last night, and I loved seeing Wicked there, and I'm glad Dune 2 got Best Picture, and I hope that helps the ratings, at the end of the day, I am happier when independent cinema reigns supreme.
Hell yeah.
$6 million for this Best Picture. $6 million? And then let's talk about Neon. They came in, they distributed this, they ran this campaign perfectly from the jump, and throughout the whole entire course of the campaign, they stayed true to their mission statements, and they just let their competitors fall. When Amelia Perez fell away, as a complete unknown came and went, Neon stayed the course. They've been here before. They probably will be here again. They've won 5 Palme d'Ors in a row, and they've won a couple Best Pictures now along the way. They got Mikey her Best Actress award in a very competitive race that we're going to talk about later. So I think the winners of the night is Anora, Sean Baker, Neon, and the whole entire team over there. An incredible drubbing on their part. Not a night of parody at all, Brett.
No, I was shocked, pleasantly shocked by how much Anora won the night. And I gotta say, you're being very modest, but my guy over here has been predicting this for months now. Okay, this is the guy that predicted Anora was going to win Palme d'Or, and then it won Palme d'Or. This was the guy back when Brutalist and Amelia Perez were still the front runners that said, you know what, I think Anora's going to sneak in and win this thing. And he didn't say it could, or there's a couple. He said Anora's going to win this thing. So Sean Baker, this man right here, the Philly movie freak, is your fairy godmother. He's your good luck charm. Wow. And he's a good luck charm to all of independent cinema, because he's been pounding this Anora drum all freaking year. Yeah. And I am so happy for our guy, Sean Baker. We love this guy. We've been on this train since Tangerine. I know it's not his first movie, but we've been on the train early. We've seen every one of his movies. We freaking love him, and it's so awesome to see him.
It's incredible, actually,
rise to this level. It's great.
Just like 2 years ago, we were like, oh, like all the weird guys, the cool guys, the Harmony Korine's and the Sean Bakers and such. Yep. They never get their fucking flowers. And now Sean Baker is going to be one of the top 10 directors.
I cannot wait to see what happens next, because this is true. You're getting into like GOAT conversation territory, my dude. You just did nothing no one's ever done at the Oscars before. You got Tarantino handing you the Best Director award, right? Happily so. A little bit of a passing of the torch, and we know Tarantino's got some great films left in him, but a sort of ceremonial passing of the torch. Dude, Sean Baker is now the guy. He is now in a position to become the major independent filmmaker of his generation,
of America.
Thank you.
Because Bong Joon-ho and Iñárritu and Guillermo del Toro, these people have they got fucking shit to say. But when it comes to American directors, Sean seems to be like he's 30 years old on the Lakers in the NBA terms now. You know what I mean? It's like he's at the peak of his career. He just got traded to the Yankees, and he's batting fourth. Like that's it. He's got a real chance here to be an all-timer.
And I think he's going to do it because this is a guy. Everything about him last night said, "I'm a guy who sticks to his guns. I'm a guy who is overjoyed to be at the Oscars winning all the awards, but will not be defined by this kind of ceremony. I am about the movies, baby. I am about cinema." You know what he's doing? this week, right after the Oscars. I saw his interview with them. He's flying down to Florida today, I think, to shoot some interviews with all the kids who were in the Florida Project, because they're now like 18 years old. So he's doing like a reunion with all the Florida Project kids for like a special Blu-ray edition of Florida Project that's coming out, I believe, or like a behind-the-scenes documentary or something that's coming out. This guy is in it for the right reasons. He's about the movies. He's about cinema. He just freaking loves movies. And if anything, you could tell him, like, I got this feeling from him last night that he's already gearing up for the night. You just got this energy from him that he just like, now he's like, I'm going to take all of this capital and then go make my fucking another masterpiece for y'all.
And that is what he's going to do, except this time he's going to get, I hope, or I hope, if he wants it, he gets a little bit more budget. He gets some more names in his movies. It'll be exciting to see what Sean Baker chooses to do with the juice of the Oscar juice, because he is our on-the-ground auteur. You know, he is, of the people, for the people, by the people, and now every studio is going to be wanting, probably, for him to come in and what big ideas were you not allowed to do or didn't have the right resources for. Very much, again, like a Bong. You win for Parasite, unbelievable. And then now your Mickey 17's coming out, which was a huge budget with Robert Pattinson. Going to see it
Warner
in
Brothers
IMAX,
gave him a lot of money
English
for that. Over $100
language
million.
picture.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder, that's what Bong wanted to do with the juice. I wonder what Sean's going to do. Can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see. I'm also very excited to see what city he chooses next, because as you know, he's gone from.
Well, I hope it's not where we live, because usually he picks just something where you don't 100 want to be.
Well, he's done in Tangerine. That was close to where I used to live.
Dude, that's
live
exactly
originally in LA. It was right a couple blocks away from where I used to live.
That's the best
it was where was that? It was sort of like Thai Town, sort of. Yeah, it was like
South
right
LA.
there. Yeah. And then he has done obviously like Orlando, but kind of a different side of Orlando than you've seen. He has done Texas City in Texas, which is down like sort of Gulf Coast area of Texas. Then he did Brighton Beach, Brooklyn for Honora. I'm going to tell you, dude, there's some great cities in Georgia you should check out. Some weird cities that you would love. I'm talking
don't
Helen,
pitch your
Georgia,
town for a Sean Baker
Athens.
movie.
I mean, Savannah has already been on movies too a little bit. It's a little overexposed. So I don't think that's your kind of vibe. Macon. There's some great cities in Georgia. Check them out. Do an Okefenokee Swamp thing.
How about Philly? Do a Mayor of Easttown. Sean, do it.
Yeah.
Sean,
Picture
season 2 of
State.
Mayor of
There you go.
Easttown. Season 2 of Mayor for fun. I don't know.
You want Sean to do a remake of Mayor of Easttown?
No, season 2. It's like
It sounds great.
I don't know.
Sounds really good.
I don't know.
Sounds really good. I miss that Kate Winslet accent. I miss her.
It'll be.
I miss that like Delco accent.
There will be a season 2 of Mayor of Easttown.
There will absolutely never be a season 2 of Mayor of Easttown.
I think there is.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah. Yes, 150%.
All right, that's the TV show that gets me back into TV.
All right.
But we're here to talk movies, baby. So let's
Thank
talk
God.
about the big loser of Oscars night. The big loser. The big loser for me was the streamers. That's right.
Bang.
I'm talking Netflix,
Bang.
Hulu, Amazon, Apple. You might be too big to fail, but God damn, does everyone hate you and hope for your demise. So first of all, Netflix did not win Best Picture again. This is famously Netflix's big thing. Their big thing. It's like they're like at Leonardo DiCaprio levels of thirsty for one of those awards, and they want Best Picture, but they lost again. Emilia Perez was their best hope this year, but despite getting 13 nominations, we know what happened with Emilia Perez and all the bad press around it, and it only took home 2 awards. For Zoe Saldana and for the song La Mal. And then I heard the Hulu live stream was glitching last night. And look, we're no stranger to tech problems. I get it more than anybody. I also don't have fucking Hulu money.
We're not owned
Get
by
your shit
Disney.
together,
What the fuck
okay?
are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. This is the Disney NBC Universal streamer. You got all the money in the world. Get that live stream working next year. I heard it cut out right before Best Actress. That's crazy.
Exactly right.
That's crazy.
And it was
Hulu.
glitching all night.
And then on top of that, the big messaging all night from Sean Baker's speech about the importance of theatrical releases and watching movies in movie theaters, to Conan's skit about theaters and streaming, to just all the sort of classic movie nostalgia that the Oscars indulges in every year. This was a big night for movie theaters and a bad night for the streamers. And it extends to the voting process as well, because I read a lot of the anonymous ballots that came out where Oscar voters, Academy members will tell you why they voted for this and that. They don't reveal who they are, but they give you their rationale for their votes. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in those ballots every year. And one of the big ones was I saw a lot of people. Nobody was explicitly coming out and saying, I voted for this because it got a theatrical release, or I voted for this or I didn't vote for this because it was on streaming. No one's saying that. But what people are doing implicitly, subconsciously, is a lot of people were referencing the theatrical experience they had when they saw the movie they voted for Best Picture or for Best Actor. There was a lot of people citing like the crowd reaction around me. Because look, we're all impressionable. When you're in a movie theater and everyone's loving it, that feeds into your reaction to the movie and your impression of the movie. And so I saw a lot of people referencing this, and I believe that what that means is that movies that get theatrical releases are more inclined to win the awards because the people voting for those awards, when they saw them in theaters, they had a more positive, memorable response than when they just sat at home and watched it, watched their screeners or watched it on streaming. And so this matters. This is why Netflix hasn't won Best Picture yet, is because they do these dumb symbolic theatrical releases in New York and LA on 6 screens for one weekend, just to get awards eligible, and then it goes to Netflix. That's why you're not winning the big prize, baby. That's why you're not winning the big prize.
Also, you submitted Amelia Perez. Just throwing that one out there, too.
True.
Brett, it wasn't all smiles last night. There was some snubs. There was some snubs. I know one that we wanted to get to at the top of this was sort of a very exciting race all season. I know you've been watching it intensely. Demi Moore did not win Best Actress.
Did not win.
For The Substance. Now, she was trending in that direction pretty hard. I think a lot of the Sharps had their smart money on Demi taking the prize home.
You picked Mikey last night. I had Demi, you had Mikey.
I did. Tell me a little bit about why were you going with Demi, and why do you think she lost?
Well, you know what? That one was a complete coin toss by the end. That was like I could feel the Mikey momentum, and I probably should have gone with momentum over like the arc of the entire awards season, because Mikey really had the momentum coming in. But I just thought, to me, it felt to me like, you have a long career in Hollywood that can go one of two ways. That can mean you have a lot of enemies, or that can mean you have a lot of friends. To me, it seemed like Demi had more friends than enemies in Hollywood, that she has been a professional her entire career, that she has been good to the people that she's worked with. I felt
Apparently
like she was going to take
no,
it. I know.
Yeah.
I felt like she was going to take it. I think, again, reading those anonymous ballots, I think a lot of the normies were grossed out by The Substance, and I think that had a big part. I literally saw people in their anonymous ballots going like anywhere from like yuck, couldn't get through the whole thing, to like this was a disgrace and I can't believe I had to watch it for the Oscars. A lot of that. There's a lot of people who just want to watch Inside Out 2 with their family who vote for the Oscars. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. And even with the kind of like graphic sexual content in Anora, I think the body horror in Substance was a bridge too far for some people, and I think that maybe soured their taste on Demi's performance. I also think, to hand it back over to you, what you said last night is just that like it could just be as simple as that Mikey was the best performance of the year, and everyone just sort of comes around to the fact of that at the end.
It's an iconic performance. It's singular. She plays Anora in Anora. It's going to win 5 awards. It's going to win Best Picture. She's the beating heart of the movie, as much as it's Sean Baker's big movie when he won all the awards for it. Mikey is Anora. Simple as that. It's like Demi was great. She's in a horror movie, so it's kind of a little bit less. People don't treat it the same. And Margaret had tons of screen time, and sometimes it felt more of a Margaret movie, even though it was definitely Demi's, but still, the back and forth. And it was just, Mikey just owned it. And remember, they've been playing this perfectly in the press and on social ever since The Palm.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But Brett,
true.
I called that one, and that felt great. But it wasn't all about me last night, because a big winner came seemingly right from your heart onto the screen. I couldn't believe what I was seeing here.
I willed this into being, Joe. I
could not believe what I was seeing. In animated feature category, we had The Wild Robot, which was made by a beloved artisan of animation. And Inside Out 2, the highest grossing movie of the year from Pixar, no slouch. And yet, Brett, I want you to tell the good people at home, which one of these pictures took the prize home?
Joe, Best Animated Movie went to a little movie from Latvia called Flow, made on open source animating software Blender by Gins Zilbalodis.
Wow.
Zilbalodis. This guy is so much fun and so cool, and this movie rocked. It's my favorite movie of 2024. I think it's the best movie of 2024. I have really, I staked my entire night on this, right? This was the one because it was such a David versus Goliath fight. It was this little movie from Latvia made on open source animating software that is so profound it makes me weep just to think about it and laugh. It's a great movie. It'll bring a lot of emotions out of you. Going up against Wild Robot from Universal DreamWorks and Chris Sanders, who, to be fair, made Lilo and Stitch my favorite animated movie of all time. Chris Sanders is a legend, and a lot of people thought he was due, but it ain't going to be for the Wild Robot, baby, because that ain't your best work. And then we also had Inside Out 2, the highest-grossing American animated movie of all time from Pixar that a lot of people liked as well. So you know how it goes. I was like, well, the money will probably win, but man, I really hope Flo takes this. I hope Flo takes this. And you know what? Oscars made a lot of right choices last night. You can sort of quibble with the nominees. You can't really quibble with the picks too much. Like the winners are kind of the right winners across the board.
To underline that fact, I want to quick mention editing. On my ballot, I chose who was going to win editing. I chose Conclave because I was looking online and it said it had a 92% chance of winning or whatever. Yes. And every smart person from all the trades thought it was going to win. So I checked the box. Because what do I know? Okay, great. But during the show, I turned to Brett and I was like, I picked Conclave because everyone said it was going to win. But what's so crazy is I can't remember one distinctive element about the editing of Conclave at all. In fact, the only movie that's editing helped tell the story really impactfully was Anora, and I didn't think that was going to win. And then when it won, me and Brett looked at each other like, I guess good things win. Yeah. Sometimes. I guess we're wrong. I'm less cynical now about the Oscars. A lot of correct choices were made. Folks.
It was one of the best Oscars in my memory that I can remember. A, for Conan's job hosting, which we'll talk about. B, for just the kind of overall pageantry and sort of segments of the show. But mostly because the voters got it right based on the nominees that they were looking at. And like you said about editing, I was looking at the editing nominees too, and I saw like what you said, Conclave in the lead, and I made a few picks just for who was in the lead and the odds, But for that one, I was like, the only movie on here where I can even think I can visualize the editing as an important part of the movie is Anora. So I was like, I'm just going to vote for Anora, and then lo and behold, the voters made the right choice there. I loved seeing Sean get that editing award. That was really well deserved.
Me too.
Really well deserved. Flo, a pleasant surprise. I am just so that is going to fill me with hope. That bought me 5 more years of hope. My hope meter was running very low, and then Flo beating Inside Out 2 and Wild Robot, justifiably so. Sure, I am a fanboy, but you watch all 3 of those movies with a cinephile's eye, and you tell me what is the best movie of the 3. You're going to tell me it was Flo. Don't even watch it with a cinephile's eye. Watch it with with your human eyes and tell me which of the 3 is the best. It's fucking Flo by a mile. And I thought you guys know I did not like Inside Out 2. I thought Wild Robot was good. I thought it was good. We weren't really doing our stars rating yet at that point. I would have given it 3 stars. I thought it was good. It was a good movie by a legendary animator. Flo is a masterpiece. Flo's 5 stars. That's a 2-star difference. I think there was the biggest disparity in that category out of any of the categories between the top and the next.
And look at you now. You're king shit for the day. Look how happy this motherfucker is.
For the day.
Look how happy my guy is.
You are too, because you picked Anora.
Yeah, I am happy.
I picked Flo from the beginning, and we've been riding those movies hard, and then they won the awards, and we're freaking happy as pig and slop.
Happy as 2 pigs in a whole lot of
sloppiest slop you've ever seen.
Now what's next?
All right, let's talk about Conan. Let's talk about Conan, baby. So Conan was the host. We all rejoiced because we got a real host. We got somebody that's very funny and good at TV. But I guess the question was, which Conan are we going to see? Is Conan going to sort of glam it up? Is he kind of sort of button it up a little bit? Or are we going to get, old school Conan? What are we going to get? And the answer was, we got all the best parts of Conan. We got the competent television host who knows how to host an award show. We got old school Conan. I love seeing the Dune worm gag was maybe my favorite gag that he did, was bringing out the sandworm from Dune to play in the orchestra.
Also, very late night with Conan coded was the Amazon package bit.
Yes.
Where a guy walks in behind something not for real, and then the package gets stolen out.
I
was so funny.
I expected Brian Stack to be the delivery man. That's how like old school of a Conan bit that was. You expected like John Glazer to be inside the box or something. That really felt old school Conan. The song number about not overdoing it was so funny. Yep. And he's weirdly good at musical bits and numbers. He really gives it everything. I thought it was again one of the best hosting gigs in memory. Yeah. Definitely the best since like the classic era. I think the best hosting gig that I can remember. He was so funny and also just like tight and professional and on his game. I give him, if we're going to use our star rating, I'd give him 4. I thought it was great. Yeah. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy Kimmel was like bad. I just think Jimmy Kimmel was like undistinctive and not as funny. And Conan's brand of humor, in my opinion, is just more distinctive and iconic and a little sillier and a little like funnier. And I loved it. It wasn't a Ricky Gervais slam fest. Like, not in the mood for that. I think Conan should just be the de facto host for like 10 years.
Please, come on.
Just like,
let's Billy Crystal this shit. Let's just give it to Conan.
I'm sure there's other people that could do it, but for the next like couple of years while the Oscars finds its footing, just like do Conan 2 to 3 more times. Like, totally pleasant, completely enjoyable. What more do you want? Like, I don't know. Too risky to try. Like, just give him next year for sure, and think about it moving forward. De facto, 4 stars, great.
Now, speaking of the show itself, Joe, let's talk about winners and losers in the show. Like, the bits and the presenters.
Like
and
when Andrew Garfield came out with Goldie Hawn, we were both like, what the fuck? Like, he'd be like a loser, right, Brett?
I don't know. I want to go because one of my losers is people who have grown tired of age gap narratives in Hollywood, because we talked about a couple weeks ago about how there's so many age gap movies from May December to Baby Girl to all those streaming ones, and if you've gotten tired of that as a narrative, I'm sorry, buckle up. We might just be at the beginning of this, because it looked like Andrew Garfield and Goldie Hawn were auditioning for Baby Girl 2 with the way they had some. I don't even think Goldie was ready for how thirsty Andrew Garfield was. Holy shit. He's like caressing her hand. And of course he's doing it in his like woke gentleman way, but he was pouring on some thick vibes on Goldie Hawn. Some thick vibes.
Wow.
And it was all about how he was a big fan of her and all that, but
weird.
there was some real undertones
so
to
that was an example of like an L. I mean, you think it's a weird W, but I'm going with just a straightforward
I'm just saying Andrew Garfield probably is a loser in the night because of how much Kurt Russell beat his ass at the after party for flirting with his wife. I mean, oh my God, Andrew Garfield, jeez. Yeah. And after that whole like,
and Monica Barbara was just sitting there like,
they're dating now,
like yesterday's paper. Yeah.
No,
wow.
there was some real something going on.
We don't know.
There.
That was weird.
And also, I will say too, the Mikey beating Demi, we haven't talked about, is very interesting also in the way that it sort of mirrored the plot of The Substance,
yes,
the movie that Demi lost for. And so, I mean, I don't know. If there was definitely some like generational stuff going on, some age gap stuff going on. But who are some of the winners of the actual show? Who are the winners?
All right, people who cracked me up. Obviously, Adam Sandler doing a bit with Conan was awesome because Sandman's so funny. Conan loves him. I love him. I loved that part of the show. But the funniest guy, the guy that reminded us the true king of the Oscars, the guy that is secret weapon every time he appears at the Oscars is Ben Stiller.
Yes.
I mean, that's classic joke.
So describe what he did.
He's coming up, the platform, upstage is getting raised up and he's coming up, but it stops. So just the top of his head is popping out like the guy in Parasite. And then he goes, production design, to introduce the category. Hilarious imagery, so funny, just classic, tight, killed it, filled out with some physicality, got up there, said his award, perfect, just like he did with Avatar, just like he's done before. Ben Stiller, I see you, and I thank you.
I loved it so much. I still remember when he dressed up like a Na'vi, a Na'vi from Avatar one year. He's
always cracking us up at the Oscars.
You know what Ben Stiller knows is that, because that bit last night, if you saw it on paper, you might go, a little hacky. Ben Stiller understands the value of a visual gag. He knew the simple visual gag of him having only half of his face above the stage while he read this like tribute to production design would be so funny, and it was.
Not
definite
hacky.
Winner.
Definite winner.
Yes.
Who do you got as a loser?
Let me give you a loser.
Who do you got?
One of my losers last night, and it pains me to say this because I love these things. One of the big losers was hats. Hats was a big loser.
You do love Hats.
Was a big loser last night.
Why?
Because for some reason, that crazy Frenchman, Jacques Audiard, wore a baseball cap to the Oscars that said the name of his movie on it, Amelia Perez. He wore a baseball cap that said Amelia Perez on it to the Oscars. And I don't think Hats have had a worse night in a long time.
He looked awful.
In a long
the
time.
hat looked dumb. He looked
bad.
French. He did take it off when they won Best Song, didn't he? As like a
No, he did not.
No, he
was
did not.
up there.
No, he did not.
Well, look, correct me if I'm wrong. In my memory, he's wearing that hat on stage behind the writers of the Best Song, and just sort of like
he takes it off.
just sort of like slithering around back there with the hat
Talk
on.
about another L. That Best Song moment when they sung some Amelia Perez. Woof. They should have had to give the Oscar back. You know how like France stole in their museums? It's all like at the Quai Branly. It's all of like Africa's artifacts or whatever. It's like,
yes, yeah.
France shouldn't get to have that Oscar. We're keeping that from you now. Sorry. Okay, so
Another winner.
Another winner. Broadway.
Yes.
Broadway is back, fuckers. Sorry. Did you see the opening of the show? And were you there? Okay. First we have smoke. We have the good production design. And there's Ariana Grande, and she's singing with her voice talentedly. And then Cynthia Erivo comes out. They sing, and then they sing Wicked together, and it fucking rules. Do you know why? Because a fucking song and a dance by talented people. There's nothing better than that, folks. I love Broadway. Bring it back. You see later in the show what happened? We had a musical medley for James Bond. It was fine, random, cool, bad, weird, whatever. It wasn't Broadway.
No.
So it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. I hate Best Song because all these great musicians that are recording artists usually get up and they perform their songs. They didn't do it last night, thank God, and it's always fine. But then when a Broadway person gets up to do the thing, it's like, oh my God, I get it, a song. Thank you.
Dude, Cynthia
love
was
it, love
so
it,
locked
love
in.
it, love
So
it, love
locked
it,
in.
love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Ariana.
You know what it
Love
reminded me? As good as the Oscars were last night, when we were watching that opening and they're doing Defying Gravity and she's crushing, in the back of my head I was like, yeah, the Oscars will never be the Tonys. The Tonys are always the best award show. Because it's just that all night. It's just spectacle upon spectacle by the most talented people on earth.
When I was at acting school, I was at one point doing like film acting classes, and the guy in charge of the studio told us why film is the most important art form and why it's the synthesis of all the art forms, and it can bring out the best emotion of us in us. And in the back of my head, I was like, I don't think this guy's heard about music yet. I was like, wait till this fucker hears
you
music.
ever been to a
it's like
play?
Music can give you
Yeah.
10 movies in 3.5 minutes. Like
Yeah.
you'll live lives, brother.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So like
we love movies, though.
No, I love movies.
We
but
love
like,
movies. But
I love
Broadway
movies,
had a
but
big night.
when you sing Defying Gravity well
Yes.
at the Oscars with
Yes.
production design behind
Yes.
you or around you, that rules.
Here's the best.
Much better
here's
than
the best
a
of
movie.
both worlds. Bring back the big budget Hollywood musical, and then make it a big keystone of your award show and kind of your whole brand.
Yeah, that worked this year. And good
Yeah.
news is we get the Wicked
Yeah.
sequel next year. Even if it sucks, get them back to do
Have
Defying
you
Gravity.
met the kids lately? They fucking love their pop stars.
Yeah,
Bring
they do.
back the Hollywood musical.
Hey, that's a great
Put
idea.
pop stars in them,
Dude,
okay?
here's an idea. Camera, please. Guys and Dolls, Sky Masterson, Dua Lipa, Tony Detroit, Sabrina Carpenter,
Here's an idea.
Nathan Detroit.
Book of Mormon with Post Malone and Benson Boone, baby. Put it into production. All right.
Free idea. Carousel with Steve-O and Lauryn Hill.
My last loser of the night, if we can. My last loser of the night, and it pains me to say this, but one of the big losers of the night was Wives. Wives did not have a good night at the Oscars.
You're kidding.
Because,
I love Wives.
Because
that sucks. What happened?
I love my wife, yeah. But Kieran Culkin dragging his him and his wife's private business into his speech about how many kids they're going to have.
I've never
And
seen
then-
you click into Southern mode more when that was happening. You were so worried about that moment.
Well, I was like
You
that's
did not like it.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
she clearly, they got a whole dynamic.
They
and
have a
she
whole
was
thing.
Fun, she was having fun
She's
with it.
married to Kieran
But I was
Culkin.
like, do not put this woman on the line for 4 kids on national TV right now. You just put this woman on the hook for having 2 more kids of your kids. And look, I love Kieran Culkin. I've never liked the give me kids. You know when like guys talk about like my wife giving me kids?
Nah,
I
it's
hate
weird.
that fucking
It's
language.
weird.
I really don't like it.
It's a little weird.
So I don't know, Kieran.
It's a lot weird.
Much like Adrian Brody, you should have cut that speech a little short because it got off the rails at the end.
Yeah,
okay,
if you want to have another kid with your wife, that's beautiful.
Speaking
you
of
should talk
Adrian
about
Brody,
it, off stage.
bloaty, because that speech was bloated.
Nice.
The playing off music is a courtesy, okay?
Right.
Much like cinema, constraints are your friend. They are
Correct.
not your enemy,
Right.
okay? This is not The Brutalist. You don't get a fucking intermission for
Correct.
your Oscars speech. Wrap it up, because what you came back with after that whole dog and pony show about don't play me off with the music was not worth it, okay? Cut it off. The playoff music is your friend. You can have a little fun with it, but don't command them to turn off the music because you already won an Oscar. And yeah, you have, I've this isn't my first rodeo. You're right. It's your second rodeo. Are you suddenly a fucking expert? Talk to me when you've won 4 or 5. Then you can do whatever you want, okay? But not until then. Also, we didn't really talk about Adrian Brody beating Chalamet.
You said it best last night. Chalamet, after this loss, like we know he's got that dog in him. Okay, we know he wants to be great.
He's hungry
He
now.
is going to like when Tom Brady wasn't drafted
This is his
appropriately,
Brady moment.
like when Jokic was drafted during a Taco Bell ad in the second round. It's murdering time. Chalamet is going to come for you and all of you, and it's just going to be like a 60-year wasteland.
Chalamet is going to find out who did not
vote.
vote for him,
Yes.
and he is going to read their names out on the stage when he wins an Oscar in the next 5 years.
Yes.
I also want to say
He's going to have a kill list like the little girl in Game of Thrones.
I don't think they're married, but I wanted to throw Adrian Brody's date in there. Do not make your date catch your fucking chewing gum, you animal.
No.
That you threw from the stage
Also,
to her.
but also don't chew gum at the Oscars. That is pissing me off. It's like wearing a hat in a restaurant.
Don't chew
Fuck
gum,
you.
period.
And then also don't
Who's
chew
chewing
gum.
gum in
Don't chew gum.
2025?
Period. Don't chew gum at the Oscars. Did you want a mint, Adrian? You can ask for that. And then don't fucking you know you're about to win Best Fucking Actor, right? Like it's either you or one of the other guys. So it's like you're about to get up. And then when you realize the gum was in your mouth, put it under your tongue. Don't throw it at your wife.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And then don't talk about how like humble you are in the midst of like that was the most humble braggy speech I think I've ever heard in my life.
He's an
such a
actor.
good actor though. He still made me feel emotional.
He's a wonderful actor, and he was terrific in The
He is an
Brutalist.
amazing actor
Yeah.
with a bad brain is my summary of Adrian Brody.
And
I don't mean like you know, like criminally bad or offensive even. I just mean he just seems like kind of
an
a
actor.
like a self-absorbed like, you know, I don't know, self-absorbed sort of like blah who has the most incredibly finely tuned acting instrument that God ever created.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful, and he looks like all of my cousins.
Does he really?
Well, he just looks very Italian and very Jewish combined all the time.
He has such a unique look.
Not well, unless you know a lot of Italians and a lot of Jewish people, and then they all stand in a big room, all sort of smushed together. You might it's like a "Where's Adrian Brody" contest. You know, you wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup.
Final hot take on the Oscars. As much as I did not like The Brutalist, and as much as I am rooting for Timmy to be our new James Dean, Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever,
right?
The voters got it right. Adrian Brody gave a better performance than Timothée Chalamet, and they got it right on pretty much every award of the evening.
Dude.
They did the damn thing.
Yeah.
They did the damn thing.
The
Impressive.
Oscars are
Impressive.
back, and I'm happy they're back because we need them. We need them now more than ever.